Hi everyone, Galit Speaks here. I have been missing for a few weeks. I don't know if you noticed, but I got married, and so there was a couple weeks. Definitely the week. I think the week before my wedding, I was here. I was talking to you, but there have been a couple weeks where I was just right after the wedding, and I got married on the 30th of May. So right after the wedding, and like 2 weeks after, I was just so exhausted and catching up, and couldn't be here. But I am back, and I'm here talking about one of my favorite topics, which is pride. And there are so many things going on right now. First of all, it's Pride Month. So, of course, I would be talking about pride and being queer and being an ally and supporting the movement, supporting fellow individuals, etc. But so for Pride Month, I got a couple of things going on. One of the things that's really cool that I'm planning for after Pride Month is in July. I am part of a nonprofit called the Diversity Initiative, and we are doing this really amazing event called Out in the Outdoors. It's happening in upstate New York, Wurtsboro Airport, July 30th and 31st. Tons of outdoor activity, safe space, and a place where the community can just come together, eat good food, shop with cool vendors, and do awesome outdoor activities like hiking and scuba diving, and yoga and acro yoga. And we've got performances going on. It's a festival. We have a fireside fiesta, just a ton of stuff planned, and I'm so excited for that because it's an event where we can come together and not just, a lot of times, especially I will say, because I'm a scuba diver, a lot of times in scuba, I have hidden my queerness. And that was because scuba is generally like older white males, and they just didn't get it. And I just always felt. And here's the really sad part. Let me tell you the truth. Here's the really sad part. I go scuba diving alone a lot. And what that means is I've got to team up with somebody to be my dive buddy. And you need to be able to trust and rely on your dive buddy 100%. And it always scared me that if somebody knew that I was queer, maybe they wouldn't look out for me. And down 90 feet under, you don't want to have that in the back of your mind that if something happens with my oxygen, if I get stuck somewhere, if I become non-responsive, I don't want somebody second thinking of like, hey, I don't agree with her lifestyle. Maybe I don't try really hard to save her. And I know that's really fucked up to think because you never want to think that about your fellow human, but people have weird reactions to hearing that I'm queer. People have weird reactions to hearing that other people are queer. Like, there are hate crimes, and I just didn't want to put myself in a situation where my life depended on somebody and they weren't sure about how they felt about me. And it's really it's really sad to think that that's how I went through most of my scuba diving career. Now I'm very out. On my last couple of trips, it actually, I did dive with Pride last year, which obviously I was all in rainbow and you could tell I was very queer, but or at least a queer ally. And everybody was super cool at our event last year. So the Diversity Initiative, we did an event last year called Dive with Pride, and we brought together a lot of dive shops and a lot of individuals that didn't necessarily identify with the queer community and had really never had interactions with them. And we opened up the conversation for people to ask questions, for there to be a safe space. And by doing that, we saw that we really could coexist, and there wasn't animosity. And so we felt so amazing about that that event last year that we decided to make it way bigger this year and do so many more activities and call it Out in the Outdoors, and really be able to have that safe space and that community extended to other outdoor activities. So I'm super excited with that, by that. That's one of the ways. If you want to know anything about Out in the Outdoors, I would love for you all to attend, be a part of it. If you're interested in being, we're looking for sponsors, we're looking for vendors, we're looking for participants. We want to celebrate with all of you, and that is going to be next month. So I will post a link to that, and that will be awesome if you guys could come, show up, show your pride, show that you're an ally. It would be amazing. Okay, some other things that I think that are important to remember during Pride Month is to really support your fellow queers. So and even if you're not queer, if you're just an ally, like how can I support my allies? This is the month, and I want you to do this every month, but especially during Pride Month, think about your queer-owned businesses and your ally businesses that you can support this month. Even if you can buy just one item, I know that that's something that I'm going to be doing this month, is really making sure that I support queer-owned businesses, and I make sure that that's a priority for myself this month. If you have been following me for a while, you know that one of the things that I do is I speak with my wallet. So it's super important for me to only support and give money to those companies that I agree with their philosophies and that I agree with the way that they act. And it's it's funny because I used to have what I called an asshole tax, and for people that for people that were assholes, like, it was either that I charged them more or I took money away. And now I just I don't even do that. I don't even want to work with that. Like, I want to only work with things that align with my values. I want to only support people that align with my values. I do not want to buy things from companies that are homophobic, that, are using, because another thing that happens a lot is, like, big corporations during Pride Month, they all of a sudden come out of the woodwork and, like, try to slap a rainbow on things and want to be an ally. On the one hand, it, like, feels good to see people acknowledging it. On the other hand, that's not why I'm going to buy from you, right? I want to buy from the people that support the Pride movement all year and not just during Pride Month. I want to make sure that the small businesses that are queer owned are getting customers today, every day, especially during Pride Month. So that's another way that I'm celebrating Pride Month. Besides for buying rainbow everything and like dressing up really in like really colorful clothing, and like that's one part of it, right? The actual festivals, the actual marches, the actual celebrations. And I live in Arizona now. I live in Phoenix, but one of the one of the best things that I used to do in New York is I would volunteer at the Pride March. And that was usually the best day, right? It was just like the energy, the feeling, the being, in Manhattan, and I would volunteer, and usually I was outdoors on, on the I was like an information person mostly. I've done other things different years, but the years that stand out to me the most is like being an information person on the inside of the march, and like just going and like seeing the crowds and talking to the crowds and feeling that energy, and like it all being just a celebration of you can be whoever you want to be, you can love whoever you want to love, and that's okay, and we support you and we love you. And just the colors and the performances and everything that comes with it. I just absolutely love it. So go out, see a drag show, go to a couple of Pride events, support queer-owned businesses, and anything that you can do to promote and to allow people to see that queer people are real people. They are just like you and me. I feel like a lot of people have a problem with queerness because they don't necessarily identify with the person who's like out and out and out queer. But what they don't realize is there are all types of queer people, and we look just like somebody who's not queer, and we act just like somebody who's not queer. Just because we're queer does not mean that we are promiscuous, does not mean that we are going to, you know, say sexual things in front of your children. Like that's another thing that I've been seeing so much lately, especially with this latest news about trying to like not allow drag shows, or like not allow children to be taken to like a children's story time drag show. I feel like any reason for somebody to read a book to a child is amazing. There's nothing sexual about it. There does not have to be a sexual component to it. It's all in good fun, and that shouldn't be the reason that you're like up in arms about drag. Like if you don't personally want to go to a drag show, don't go to a drag show, but do not make that decision for other parents. Do not make that decision for the people around you. Let people be. Let people live the way that they want to live. As long as they are not hurting you or not hurting anyone else, then it should not be a problem, and it should not be something that we're arguing in the courts over. I want to make sure that, this is the time where we need to make sure that we don't go back in our legislation. We do not want to lose our rights. We do not want to have to hide our identities. This whole don't say gay thing is absolutely ridiculous. Like, how horrible is it for a child in school that has two moms or two dads to not be able to discuss that with the teacher, or to not understand that that's a perfectly okay family setting. Like, by not allowing it to be said, it's making it something that's wrong, and it's not. If you have a loving, beautiful home environment, you have a loving, beautiful home environment. Does not matter if that home environment consists of 2 dads, 2 moms, or anything in between, or any other configuration. A family is a family, and I know for myself, like, just because a family has a mom and a dad does not mean that it is a good family. And if your family is a beautiful family and it's got 2 dads or 2 moms, or your mom is trans or your dad is trans, like, that's awesome. And that is perfectly acceptable. And you are a family just like my mom and dad were a family. So to not be allowed to discuss that or acknowledge that in a school setting is something that really bothers me, because so many kids are going to feel like there's something wrong with them, like there's something wrong with their family, when it's a loving family just as any other family is a loving family. So those are the things that I wanted to talk about for Pride Month. I would love to hear how you are celebrating Pride Month, and how you plan on continuing to support queer-owned businesses throughout the year. Please like and share this video, subscribe to hear more. I've got some really awesome guests lined up for the next couple of sessions, so watch out for that. This podcast is really starting to gear up now that, like, the wedding is over, and I've got more time on my hands and less stuff that I have to worry about with where that is concerned. So I'm really starting to gear up now, and we're going to be moving on through topics. So tell me what you want to hear. Tell me what you want to talk about. You know, it's going to be something that's going to be aligned with my values. Have an amazing day, and I will see you next week. Bye.